So she goes, are you guys 21? And we folded under pressure, and we were like, no. And she was like, okay, well, then you have to get out. Weekends ain't no rest for the wicked till we close our my. All right, you take the
grow
lead.
On trees. We got bills to pay. I got mouths to feed.
It ain't nothing in this world for free.
It's so hard.
Can't slow down, can't slow back. Oh, you know, I wish I could. Ain't no rest for the wicked till we close our eyes for good.
It's so hard to talk and to hear your voice in my headphones at the same time because it like slows you down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but anyways, welcome everyone to the pod.
As you guys can see, we got a little different setup going on.
We're in different locations.
We're not in the same crib. I'm at my trap setup at school.
And I am back on my couch, my trusty couch with
He's
my
on
dog.
the trap setup at home.
Yeah. As you can see, I lost my headphones. I couldn't get them to work, actually. And so I'm pulling out the PlayStation headset. So if this mic fails, I got this one as a backup. Hopefully I won't need that one.
We are good. We're all covered. What have you been up to, Zach?
Oh, you know, living life, working out.
We haven't seen each other in a couple weeks. I've been missing you pretty hard, I can't lie.
I think it was 2 weeks.
Yeah, a couple typically would mean 2, but...
Yeah. I think you said it.
So me and Zach, we had a pretty interesting time. I think when the last time we saw each other,
yeah,
we got kicked out of a bar.
It was 2 weeks ago. Okay, it's Wednesday, so it was 2 weeks ago exactly.
Yeah, we got kicked out of a bar. And before our grandmas freak out right now, because we know that you guys are watching, we weren't there to get drunk, okay?
Listen to the whole story.
Yeah, so we show up to a bar because they have an open mic, an open comedy mic, and we weren't going to perform. We were just going to watch. We just wanted to watch the comedy. So we show up, what, like 20 minutes before or something? Or like 30 minutes before?
Well, actually, we pull up. And we weren't sure if we were going to get in or not because I called like 8 times and they just never answered.
Yeah.
So we literally walked by.
They had great service over there.
Yeah, we like walked by and they had a sketchy looking dude out front, so we literally made a loop around the block because I just walked right past. And then we pulled back up, and then the dude, I don't know if he was still there or not, but we like just kind of like walked up.
He was, he was.
So we just like kind of walked up. And I was like, okay, they're going to ask us for IDs and then, like, shoot us in the foot or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened. There was, like, a lady. I don't know if she worked there or she's just one of those people that is there so often she might as well work there.
Yeah.
And she was, like, toasted. She's like, are you guys there for the comedy?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah. She's like, are you performing? I was like, we're like, nah, we're just here to hang out. She's like, have a seat.
Yeah, she was like, they're sitting upstairs and downstairs. So we chose downstairs, and this is like where it all started. We chose downstairs. We chose a table. And then after a few minutes, we were like, we're not going to order anything, so we don't need to take up a table. We're going to go to the bench seating up top. So we go up top, get settled into a bench, and then Zach
again,
says,
remind you, we walked all the way through the bar, sat at a table with people around us, walked all the way back through the bar, walked upstairs, walked past the other bar, then sat down.
Yeah, so we sit down, and Zach goes, I'm thirsty. And I was like, all right, me too. And he was like, I'm going to go to the drink, or up to the bar because he's not busy. I'm going to get a drink. And I was like, all right, I'll come with you. So he comes up, and he goes, hey, can I get a Sprite? And she goes, are you 21? And he was like, no, I don't think you understand. I said, can I get a Sprite? And she was like, yeah, are you 21? And he was like, I'm asking for a Sprite. And she was like, and I'm asking if you're 21. So basically, she was like, are you guys 21? We're 21 and up. And then she tells us what?
I can't remember.
Okay, so I'll just tell the rest of it.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know where you're at. You just
Okay. So she's like, yeah, we're 21 and up after 7 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a bar. I don't know what the time has to do with it, but whatever. So So she goes, "Are you guys 21?" And we folded under pressure, and we were like, "No." And she was like, "Okay, well, then you have to get out." And Zach was like, "Well, they let us in downstairs. They didn't say anything to us."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Yeah, we don't have a door person on Wednesday." And Zach was like, "Yeah, so, I mean, nobody stopped us." And she was like, "Yeah, well, we don't have a door person, but you're going to have to go because you're not 21. And we were like, "All right." So then we walked out, which I think we could have gotten away with just sitting downstairs. Yeah. But we were like, "All right, we're just going to take off." So we went across the street, Nate, and then Zach swore he was going to go back, and I don't think he's been back yet.
No, I didn't. I meant to go back last week, but Bible study went a little long, so I couldn't make it to the bar on time.
Yeah, and then tonight we're recording.
Yeah,
and you guys are more important than us watching open mics. So
and then I can specifically remember the walk because I forgot where the restaurant was because I told Dillon, I said, if we get kicked out or they don't let us in, I said, we'll go to a restaurant. And I couldn't remember where it was. And I specifically remember walking out. We walked all the way down. And then I realized it was the other way, and we walked all the way back up. And the whole way, Dillon was so heated at me because I was the one that asked. And he was just like,
yeah, well,
I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't ask. He was like, yeah.
Well, okay. So, I mean, I was heated, but I wasn't heated at you. I was just heated at, the situation. Because we got let in. But what I was mad about is that we got kicked out for not doing anything illegal. Like, we weren't trying to order beer. And the thing is, me and Zach were talking about, we were like, dude, if we tried to order beer, they would have gave it to us in a heartbeat. They wouldn't have even questioned it.
It was
Zach tries to order a Sprite, which, I mean, and it was just as much my fault. That's why I'm not mad at you, because I was about to get a Coke. I was like, I'm about to order a Coke. But before I got to it, she was like, nah, you guys aren't 21. You can't be drinking Sprite and Coke. You guys have to get out. And so we were like sitting there. So after, like, we were both pretty frustrated, but after a few minutes we started making jokes about it when we got in the restaurant and stuff. And we were like, man, we could have ordered a line of crack and she would have just gave it to us. But
I'm like, dog, I'm literally like 6'7". If I come back up to this bar and you serve me, like, that's 100% on you.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no way you can't pick me out of a crowd and be like, yeah, that guy's not 21. I already asked him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a ridiculous situation, but it's funny. It's funny looking back at it, but still, I did not think very highly of that bartender for kicking us out for a while at least.
We weren't happy.
And when we were walking around the building, something also that's been happening to me recently is I got a notification for my fitness ring saying that I haven't filled it up, and it does that all the time, remind me that I'm a fat piece of garbage. and so I just kind of wrote that down, like, my phone's fitness ring really bothers, like, it makes me feel bad about myself because it goes off every day. Something else that makes me feel even worse is that, like, whenever I have on my Apple Watch and I just walk, like, to class, so I'm walking just at a regular speed, it goes, are you working out right now? Because you're making some there's an unusual amount of activity coming through your wrist right now. Your pulse is high. I'm like, yeah, I'm just walking outside, and it just makes me feel really fat every time. So.
When I first started wearing an Apple Watch, anytime at church I would play, like, the piano or something like that for a service, I would always get a notification that says, are you swimming? I was like, it was the weirdest, but it literally every time, and it never failed. And I don't even think the watch was waterproof. I was like, if I was swimming, you wouldn't be asking me, you'd be dead. So
that's funny. So you had something that you wanted to say this week, right? Like, you had a story.
Yeah. So it's actually a news article. So you know how, like, protesters in the last couple of years have been getting, like, I don't want to say more extreme, because protests have been pretty extreme in the past, like French Revolution, but
yeah.
But protesters are doing like some weird stuff recently. Like, they like to glue themselves to stuff. That's a big one. They like to they block traffic and stuff like that. And so the climate activist protesters, they're the ones that, like, threw tomato soup on, like, a painting, and they've been, like, gluing themselves to stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They went into the Volkswagen Museum, And in one specific exhibit, I can't remember what it was, a bunch of protesters went in there and they took like super glue and they like glued themselves to the floor, like around this like super nice car. And so the museum, instead of doing what everyone else does, you know, they call the police and the press show up and they like get all the attention they wanted. The museum said, "We respect your right to protest." And so they shut off the lights, shut off all the heat, and left for the night and left them there.
That's great. That's great.
And then, like, all the protesters were complaining. They're like, "We didn't have anywhere to use the bathroom. It was cold in here. It was uncomfortable." I'm like, "Dog, you quite literally glued your own self to the floor."
Yourself. Bro, they must have been using Elmer's or something, dude. They had some good glue going on.
I've seen a lot of them do that, and they'll like glue themselves to like pavement and stuff. And sometimes, I mean, I guess sometimes they get themselves off just fine, but sometimes they gotta like cut into the concrete, and it's like it like won't come off. So I don't.
That's just insane. I mean, look, I might not be as good of a person as them, but I'm just gonna say it. I don't think any cause is worthy of gluing myself to the ground.
And also, like what is? I mean, if it gets the press coverage you hope it does, then it makes sense. But if you have a business like that, that's like, all right, have fun doing your protest. Good night.
Yeah, then that's like the most savage way to handle that. Handle a protester. I bet they were probably protesting at like Hitler's car or something. Didn't he make Volkswagen? Isn't he like the founder or something?
No, I think it was the same like climate activist protesters.
Oh, climate activists.
But I do think it was
probably
in Germany.
over the exhaust, probably. The exhaust of...
I do think it still was in Germany. Now, I have something to say about Germany, okay? Why aren't we watching Germany closer, is my question.
I've thought about that a lot because I don't know, I don't know if any of you guys out there are history buffs, but they tried to fight somebody twice, and it was the whole world that they chose.
Yeah, and by somebody, he means everyone. They fought everyone.
Yeah, twice. Every country. All 8 billion.
They literally fought everyone because somebody killed an Archduke, Ferdinand. Mm-hmm. That's the name of a bull also. And then they're like, you know what? Even though he wasn't even from our country, we're fighting everybody. And that's a history fact. You can ask Hank Green. He'll verify.
I don't know who Hank is, but that's probably true. He's a verified source. So they lost.
Yeah.
But that wasn't enough for them. They about 10 years later, they ran it back. They said, "Hey, buddy, we're coming back." Or 15 maybe.
They were lost. And then this guy named Hitler was like, you know what? The Jewish people, they did it. It was their fault. Let's try it again.
And then they ran for round 2, which is arguably scarier than them winning. That they were willing to do it twice. Which, I mean, that's like, I think you're right. I think we need better.
Yes, they did it.
Pay a little bit more attention to them.
They did it twice, and we just assume it's not going to happen again.
Yeah, we just assume they're done. But I mean, if you're going for 2, I mean, you know what they say, third time's the charm. So if they get after it again, we might be in trouble, dude.
If they listen to this podcast, they might be after it because they're like, we didn't know third time was a charm.
I love what he did. I love how it's like, well, I don't love it, but it's like a tiny little piece of land on a map. Mm-hmm. It's like this big on a map.
And they like try to take
the rest of the world is so much bigger. Like, so much bigger. And they're just trying to take over everything. Hey, real quick, do you know all the 5 oceans? Do you know the names of all of them?
Pacific, Atlantic, Arctic, Indian.
The last one is the most recent one, but it's still been there for like 20 years. For 13 years. 14 years.
Is it called like Ocean? No, that's like the continent that Australia.
Yeah, there's a continent that. Right, yeah, Oceania.
I don't know. I didn't know there was 5.
Yeah, it's the most I think it's like 2009 or something like that. They added the 5th one, but it wasn't as big of a deal as it should have been. Mm-hmm. But it's called the Southern Ocean.
The Southern?
Down south, yeah. It's like. It's just like the part that wraps around Antarctica from the bottom.
Wouldn't that be the Arctic?
No, the Arctic is up top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so I've always thought that it was kind of like, when I look at a map, you know, and it's so like stretched out, I've always just imagined that that's how the Earth actually looks, like from out there, from space. But recently,
because the Earth is flat.
Right, yeah, because the Earth is flat.
Thanks.
But on a globe, I've never realized how close everything is to everybody. Everything is so close, so much closer than I thought. And Antarctica, it's not really that long. It just wraps around the bottom. I mean, it's just like a little cup around the bottom of the Earth, just like holding the Earth in its hand, in its little cup. And I've never noticed that until recently. I've seen a globe. And maybe I'm just not that smart, but I thought it was groundbreaking that when I found it out.
I think you should have learned that in high school, probably.
Yeah, they probably should have taught me that in elementary school, but I didn't. I don't think I was there. I probably skipped that day.
Let me tell you about high school. Okay, I was thinking about this the other day. There was a girl. Okay, she was in my freshman class. I'm not going to drop names. Okay, because pretty much everyone that listens to this went to high school with us.
We have reformed from our former name dropping. We realize that's probably not a great idea.
Did we used to drop names?
We've dropped a couple names, dude.
Anyways, so it was my freshman year, all right, and this girl, for some reason, she had something against me. I don't know what it was. She just like had beef with me from like day one, right? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm in this seat, okay, and there's like one seat between us. And then she's in the seat in front of that. We got like rows. Okay, so she's like, not the one in front of me, but the next one.
Yeah.
The kid in front of me, he wasn't there that day. He was a super cool dude, super quiet. I loved to mess with him. He was so fun. He wasn't there, and so my dog is scratching himself. Remy is joining us as a guest.
Remy
on this podcast.
finally in the cut, dude. He finally in the cut.
Dillon's not here, so he's cool.
Yeah, he hates me.
So the middle kid wasn't there, right? So she was in front of me, right? And I'm sitting there, and she's like talking to one of her friends, and she's like laughing or whatever. Okay, and she's like facing this way, and she's like and then like turns around and like makes eye contact with me, and she goes, and then like looks me up and down and goes. And like she's in like some kind of like 2008 high school like teen drama movie. I'm like, what was that?
Honestly, I think I have like two guesses of who it was. I'm gonna ask you after and see if I'm but
it was like the most awkward thing in my life. And I started dating a girl my freshman year, and I remember I'm sitting there, and her picture, like me and her, like she was my background or whatever, my phone. Yeah. And I was sitting there, and I was sitting there waiting for class to start, and she like gets up, and then like walks back to my seat, and she like doesn't ever talk to me, and she just like touches my phone, and sees the picture, and she goes, "Oh, are you and her dating?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, you guys are perfect together." And then like walked away and like sat down. I was like, and then. Another time, again, same chick. I used to wear sweatpants all the time when I was a freshman. And she came up to me. Yeah, she came up to me one day and she goes, "You always dress so," and like looked me up and down. She goes, "Comfortable." I was like, what? Okay. I mean, what? Yeah. Is that I mean.
Now I definitely think I know who it is.
I feel like that's a flex.
Yeah, I mean, I dress comfortable now, and I think people probably think I look like a bum, but I just don't even care at this point.
I don't know if my style just changed or that like got to me somewhere deep down, but I don't think I've worn sweatpants since that day.
Really? I don't know. I remember I went through like a phase in like 10th grade where I wore button-ups and khakis every day. I don't know if you would remember that, but
I think I do.
I wore it like every day, like not like dress button-ups, but like button-ups that were like, and they would have like a flamingo or something on it, and I would wear those every single day. And then like I just went back to dressing like a middle school basketball player after that. And then I started wearing. I think I wore my first pair of jeans in like 12th grade. I'm not even joking.
with your neon socks come up to your knees, and they like say like Nike, or they're like the Under Armour socks. And they got like the squares and going down the back.
Yeah, and I was wearing Nike wristbands, sweatbands on my wrist.
Ooh, that's rough. That's not a good look.
It's a bad time. It's a bad time.
Let me tell you, the other day, I was going into a Mexican restaurant. Okay, and the one we have here in South Clinton is like tiny. Okay, and it gets busy. So I think it was a Friday night, and so there was 2 ladies that were in front of me, and I walk in and I'm standing behind them. Okay, and there's no table, so they're waiting for a table, and then I'll get a table behind them. Well, all of a sudden, the door opens, and this older couple walks in behind me, and the lady walks up to me, and she, like, taps me on the shoulder, and she goes, "Oh, excuse me." And I was like, okay, well, she needs to go to the bathroom or something like that, and I step out of the way, and she literally comes and walks around and stands right in front of me and just doesn't move. I was like, did she just cut me? And then her husband came in, and she turned around to talk to him, and I realized it was my teacher from the 4th grade. Just walked in and straight up cut me in line. I didn't even know who I was. I was like, whoa. And then
that's great.
And then like this massive party of like 20 people came in, and for some reason they all decided, again, like this restaurant is probably as big as my living room, which is not big.
Yeah, I think I know the one you're talking about.
And this group of like 20 people came in, and they were like all decided that they wanted to pile in because it was cold outside. And so you're literally standing there shoulder to shoulder. I'm like, I don't even know how these people can eat because there's like people's butts right up against their table. And so eventually I just walked out, and then we went somewhere else.
That's so funny. I wonder if your teacher recognized you and she's like, "Oh, this kid sucked in 4th grade. I'm gonna cut him just to get back at him for all the stuff he did to me. Never did his homework.
I mean, I thought she liked me.
He didn't know how to read whenever I called on him to read out loud.
But all those statements are true. But still,
I remember you switched into my 8th grade social studies class, and you remember you tried to volunteer to read, but I was the designated reader. I read the entire textbook. It's social studies textbook in 8th grade. And that teacher she's still the best. She's my favorite teacher I've ever had, I think.
Yeah, there was, it was me and 2 other guys. And we had every class together our 8th grade year in middle school. And we used to do some of the dumbest stuff. And we would get in so much trouble that eventually the teachers, like, came to me and the other guy, well, like one of the other guys, and they were like, okay, one of you is moving. One of you has to like change your schedule because like we can't deal with having you guys in the same class anymore. And she was like, okay, do either of you have any problems with anyone? And the other kid was like, if I see this one guy in any of my classes, I'll stab him. And I was like, whoa. I was like, well, if I see him, I'll stab him twice. So I didn't say that, and so my schedule got switched.
Yeah, and I remember the kid he was talking about that he would stab. I remember that kid got in a fight with somebody else in the bathroom, and they broke the stall door. Remember that? We didn't have a bathroom stall, like we didn't have a door for the rest of the year or whatever. It was for a while.
I don't know if I remember that part.
I remember it. It was pretty funny, but. Yeah, middle school was a crazy time, man. I peaked in 8th grade. I'll say that. Probably at least. I don't know. Middle school was just a crazy time. I remember that was, especially 6th and 7th grade. I was still probably actually wearing those socks that came up to your knees that said like "Just Do It" on the back. Yeah. And it was like, it was just a sad time. It was a sad time for fashion. And
I had a pair of socks that came up to my knees, and they had pictures of Peyton Manning on the back of both of them.
Really?
And I used to wear those all the time. I thought they were like I thought it made me look so cool. I was wrong.
That's pretty funny.
It did not.
At least you played football in middle school.
Yeah.
You weren't a quarterback, but at least you played football.
Yeah. At least I was close.
Yeah, you were there. You were almost there.
Well,
you were close to being the next Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I remember. I played center, so all I had to do was to not give the football back to the quarterback, and I would have basically been the quarterback.
All you had to do was just call like a swap, just like, hey, switch places. I'm throwing at this
What if the center like I don't know a whole lot about specific football rules, but what if the center just like put it between his legs and then with his other hand just like grabbed it from behind himself and was just like, got it.
I mean, I think technically, as when the center moves the ball, they don't necessarily have to snap it through their legs. I think they just have to, like, the center can keep it. I'm pretty sure. I might be an idiot on that. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Like, so I think they could just do that. I don't think they would get much playing time after that, but I think they could do that.
Well, because I feel like at least once I would have seen that. And I know in middle school I watched every single video that was like top 10 craziest plays in the NFL. I know I watched every one of those videos, and I didn't see it once. I don't know if it is a rule or not. I
catch myself watching those now, like at night, and then throwing a ball to myself and pretending I'm in the NFL, just like old times. Another thing I do in the middle of the night is that, and this is a thing that a lot of guys can probably this will resonate with you, is that 3 a.m. motivation. Mm-hmm. And I'll explain it for the ladies out there that might be confused right now, but it's a time in every guy's life, every few months, in the middle of the night, he's like, I'm changing it tomorrow. I'm changing my entire life. And he's like, I'm going to wake up at 4 o'clock. And he's like, I've never worked out. Tomorrow's a Thursday, but I'm going to wake up at 4 in the morning and do 100 push-ups. But I'm going to do 100 right now. So you get on the ground, you start doing push-ups, you're listening to motivational speeches on YouTube, you're throwing yourself a football, catching touchdowns to win the Super Bowl. And then you set your alarm for 4:30, and then it comes around, and you're like, you know what? I'll start tomorrow. And then you hit snooze.
Tomorrow's today.
Yeah, tomorrow, the grind starts tomorrow. And then you hit snooze, and then you just never work out. And that's how you get in the shape that I'm in now. So if you want this awesome physique, just do that. Every couple months, just say that you're going to start working out, and then never do.
I remember anytime we would go on a youth trip with the church, if you stayed in a hotel or like on a college campus, really anywhere that had access to a gym, like to workout equipment, you would have this group of middle school boys that would be like, man, I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. I'm going to hit the gym so hard. I'm going to run 4 miles. Yeah. And then I'm be done. I'll have a shower done before you guys even wake up. Okay, I'll eat my breakfast, rep 300 pounds before you guys even know what hit you. Yeah. And then 11 o'clock rolls around, they hit snooze for the 47th time. Yeah.
After they get through it there, I'm going to be a beast tomorrow speech. Yeah. Like, you're not even going to recognize me. I'm going to have a six-pack by the time you wake up. That's how hard I'm going.
I volunteer for Yoke, which is just like a middle school mentor thing. And we had a camp. I want to say it was like last fall or last winter. It was snowing. It was snowing like quite a bit. So it was probably like spring camp. It was spring camp because spring camp is in like March. Yeah. And it was snowing like quite a bit. And I had these two kids come up to me and they're like, hey, we're going to wake up in the morning. We're going to go running. I'm like, have you ever done that before? Ever? They're like, yeah, we do track. I'm like, so you wake up every day at 4 in the morning? No, we usually wait for practice, but we're just going to go at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, going to get that extra grind in.
I'm like, okay, a couple things. A lot of things, but I'm going to condense it down. Number one, you can't be out running around by yourself in the middle of the woods. You have to have somebody like me with you. And if you think that I'm waking up at 4 a.m. to go running in the snow, buddy, you've got another thing coming. Number two, there's zero chance you wake up at 4. I was like, if you wake up at 4 and you are ready standing at that door, I promise you that I will go with you. 4 in the morning rolls around, then 5, then 6, then 7, and then I'm shaking the bunk bed trying to wake them up at 8:30. Yeah. And that's how it works every time.
Every time. And that's just how like guys' just brains work. And it starts when you're young and it never goes away unless you're one of those people, one of those maniacs that actually work out and you're like in great shape 24/7. And I'll say this, that would never be me. And that's not a flex. I'm just saying that's a lazy thing, but it'll never be me.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about the second half of that, but for the last 2 weeks, I've actually been hitting the gym every day. Really proud of myself. Some people say it's a New Year's resolution thing. It's not a New Year's resolution thing. Just joining the gym is a lot cheaper in January, so that's why I chose to do it in January.
It is, ain't it?
Yeah, it's at Planet Fitness. I think it's like $10 a month if you sign up in January versus I think outside it's like 15 or something like that.
Oh, you don't understand it. I've been versed in this whole like lazy guy thing. I have a gym membership already. I just don't go. I pay for it every month, $15. Work out anytime, but I choose never. So that's the grind I'm on, dude.
Yeah, I've been going. I think I missed like a couple days in the last 2 weeks, but I've been going pretty consistently, and I think I already got a 6-pack coming, Dylan. If you want to see it, right? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you go ahead and pull that out. Yeah, no, I mean, look, I'm proud of you, man. I hope you keep it up. Keep it up. It's I mean, it's definitely good for you. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to be ripped and work out. I'm just saying I'm too lazy for it personally. At least in all my past experience, I have been. I always do this whole thing where I say I'm going to work out and stuff, and I never do. Actually, I did. I bought a $1,000 piece of workout equipment, the Bowflex. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but the Bowflex. And you kind of do this motion with your legs and your arms. You're supposed to do it faster, but I haven't started using it yet, so I'm not very good at it. You know, and I'm excited to start using it. I'm actually going to change my life around this time, I think. And all I got to wait for is to put it together. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to start using it. I'm going to get probably try to get in good shape. And I'm going to use it every day as soon as I get it put together. That's all I'm waiting on. Bought that about 4 years ago. So that plan is going well. We'll see how that pans out. But you know, honestly, I feel like I get more done when I don't work out because I feel like I'm just more like active. I'm more productive.
Yep.
I feel like I get way more done. I mean, for example, in real life, I would never make the NFL, not once. Too slow, too short.
Yeah.
There's one other obvious one, but I'm going to let you guys figure it out. I would never make the NFL in real life, ever. But I've made the NFL 8 times on my Xbox.
Yep.
And, like, that is just... Like, nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that in real life. Nobody's making the NFL 8 times. I've retired a Hall of Famer 7 times. And I'm probably going to make it an 8th after I hop off of this thing. I'm going to make it 8 times tonight. And, you know, let's see. I mean, I'm the greatest to ever do it. That's what I'm saying is I don't need to work out. Like, I don't need it. I'm already getting stuff done. Tom Brady has a 6-pack. I have 6 championship rings in 7 different seasons. So come at
me. Well, as this episode comes to a close, I would urge all of you to email us because no one freaking ever does.
Yeah, you guys hate us. TikTok emails us a lot and says that we need to follow people.
Yeah. So if you have a TikTok, if you know somebody with a TikTok, if you support Dylan's dreams of being in the NFL, or
you've ever seen a TikTok,
or you want to see a picture of my abs, email us. I'll get back to you in.
And that was ABS that he said, by the way.
I'll get back to you in 6 months on those. But anyways, stay classy out there. Keep watching the TikTok. We got some clips coming up.
We got a banger that posted today, and that's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. And if you're not watching our videos on YouTube, you are missing out. I'll tell you that. I'll just tell you straight up, you're missing out, man.
Yeah, you realize and if you don't watch this one, you're missing my beautiful dorm room.
Yeah.
And you can see the mirror, and you can see my dresser, and you can see the bunk bed, and you can see my banana blanket. And if you're not watching, you miss all that.
Yeah, you won't get to see my couch or my dog's butt, which is the only thing in the camera, or this painting painted by Michelangelo himself.
And earlier, Zach flashes ABS, and you would miss it if you weren't watching. So
ABS. Anyways, I would urge you to follow us and give us 30% effort.